technical difficulties as Facebook is upgrading their lives, I guess. But yeah, welcome to Real Life Cooking. Today is Sunday, if you are unaware of what day it is, because you know a lot of things have been happening. Just want to get my lighting straight. Hi, Instagram. Welcome to Real Life Cooking. Sorry I'm a little late. We had some technical difficulties on Instagram. Just want to get my lighting right so you guys can see properly. All right. If you are cooking along today, raise your hand. Let me know. Type it in the box below. We have my technological guru, Christopher, here that will be relaying your questions and comments and anything you have to say to me on Instagram or Facebook. He'll relay all your comments to me, so just go ahead and don't be shy. Say hi. Oh, I know. Kanisha's cooking along today, so if you are cooking along, get your pot of water starting to boil. I'm going to go turn mine on back here. Oops, wrong thing. All right, so I have a giant pot of water, at least 4 quarts of water, and I'm going to put a lid on it so it can start to boil a little bit faster. Also, if you're cooking along today, I didn't include this in the recipe ingredients, but if you have some garlic, can you grab that right now? I'm gonna give everyone a couple minutes to get used to, Sunday evening cooking along with Chefleen. I just want to go over a few of the things that you will need if you're cooking along. We're gonna need a knife, of course. Always need a knife when you're cooking, well, most of the time. We're gonna need a cutting board because you never want to cut on anything besides a cutting board. It's very, very bad for your knives. We're gonna need a colander, so something to strain our pasta in. And for our ingredients today, it's very, very simple. We need some chicken breasts or chicken thighs. I would, boneless, skinless chicken thighs will work just as fine. We need some, what else do we have? We have some penne pasta, but any kind of dried pasta will do. And someone said that I've cooked pasta 2 times in a row because on Tuesday I got to sign in for Ollie.co and do a pasta workshop for their apartment complex. And I made a pasta dish then. So someone's like, you're cooking pasta again? But this is in honor of the pasta championship that I was supposed to be in. And now that COVID-19 has taken over the world, it has been canceled. So I'm very, very sad to not be competing in that in a couple weeks. It was U.S. Barilla Pasta Championship. And I was really excited. It was in Pebble Beach. You get to make pasta, compete against 8 chefs. And now it is not happening. So in honor of that, I'm making a lot of pasta. Also, pasta is something great to have in your house at all times. Chris is over here like, shh. You know who you remind me of? You remind me of the guy in Mexico. One time we went ATVing with someone in Mexico, and he kept going super fast, but then was telling us to slow down, and that is exactly what you're reminding me of. All right, so yeah, we're making pasta, but not only in ode or in honor of my pasta championship that I can no longer do, but it's a great thing to have on hand because it doesn't go bad in your cabinets. Is there a question?
Amina Meebang says that, we knew you would have won.
Thank you, Amina. It was in my heart. I'm not a loser. At least I don't like to lose, so I try not to. All right, so if you are cooking along, today we are making creamy chicken penne pasta with broccoli. So we need chicken, we need Italian seasoning, we need Parmesan cheese, we have a pot of water boiling if you're cooking along. And that's about it. And the other thing you're gonna need is a skillet, something like this. If you have, this is kind of this is what I call a real skillet, a legit skillet. It doesn't have such high sides, but this pan has a little bigger sides, if you can see, and it works really well when you're making things with sauces. So instead of trying to sneak it in something like this and being really careful when you stir it, if you have something like this would be the time to use it. If you don't have something like this, I'm all about substitutions. Just be a little more careful when you are mixing around in your pan later. All right, so let's do, the first thing that we're going to do is season our chicken. So I have boneless, skinless chicken breasts. I chose boneless, skinless for this dish just because they're a little neater. Although chicken thighs have a little bit more flavor, I feel like chicken breasts are a little neater for dishes like this. They kind of slice more neatly. You don't have to trim off much fat and stuff. Chicken thighs tend to have a lot of fat around them that I like to trim off. So yeah, I'm just gonna take these out. And these have been frozen because we bought a lot of things that we froze as well. So they have quite a bit more liquid in here than usual. So let me show you guys. We have a good amount of liquid. So we don't want to put that liquid inside when we're marinating our chicken. So let us take it out. I like to use tongs when I'm handling chicken because then I don't have to wash my hands. But of course, if I were to touch this chicken, which actually I might in 2 seconds, I would wash my hands directly after. We just place this over here. Place this here. Now, for you guys at home, I said, question?
How many chicken breasts?
I'm using 2 chicken breasts. 2 chicken breasts can actually go a very, very long way. Actually, a serving of protein for like an average human is actually only the size of your fist. So if you look at the chicken breasts, like half of a chicken breast is basically the size of my fist. And what we're gonna do with these is we're gonna sear them and then steam cook them, and we're gonna slice them up in the end. So it's not like we're presenting a whole chicken breast. So this can, and it's gonna be having pasta and things. So 2 is good for probably up to 4 people, depending on how hungry the people that you're cooking for are. So yeah, I want to season my chicken. I'm going to use just a little bit of olive oil. I always like to use olive oil whenever I'm seasoning chicken, just because especially chicken breasts, they don't have a lot of fat at all. That's why people like to eat them. But when you cook them and there's no additional fat, they can often end up dry. So I'm going to season it with a little bit of olive oil. I'm also going to put in so in the recipe ingredients, I gave you guys, I said Italian seasoning, and that is one of my like #1 tips if you're not an avid cook or you don't cook a lot, to buy your seasoning in like packets. So then you don't have to have all the seasonings involved in Italian seasoning. So Italian seasoning normally has like oregano, basil, thyme, maybe some garlic powder. So I'm kind of making, funny enough, I told you guys to have Italian seasoning. I don't even have any, but I'm basically going to make my own blend here at home. So I'm going to use about a teaspoon of each of the herbs that I have. So I have oregano, and I have thyme. Thyme is my favorite herb, and it's also something that we have a lot of now. Haha, funny. Oh, my laugh track didn't laugh in the back. But yeah, it's one of my favorite herbs. It's very like floral and aromatic. A teaspoon of that. Also, you could use fresh herbs in here, but because of the situation that a lot of us are in, it doesn't really make sense to have fresh herbs in your fridge like that unless you're just on this cooking. Oh, you know what I also forgot to tell you? To make your water boil faster, let's go ahead and put a lid on it if you have one. If not, no big deal. But yeah, if you have fresh herbs, you could definitely use the same sort of marinade for your fresh herbs. With your fresh herbs, but I find dried herbs work just as well. They season just as good. They're actually even a little bit stronger in flavor than your fresh herbs, so you need less of them. Alright, so I put in some garlic powder, my Italian seasoning. You can use your Italian seasoning that you have that's already pre-mixed. And then we also want to add in some salt. A good amount of salt here. About probably like a teaspoon and a half. And my secret to cooking chicken breast, lemon juice.
What type of salt is that? Why'd you put so much?
I put kosher salt, and because this is like the one chance we have to season the chicken by itself. And when you're cooking, you want to build layers of flavor. You don't want to just cook everything and at the end just dump tons of salt on it, because then it's just going to taste salty. But the salt, what salt does is really bring out the flavor of everything. And granted, chicken breasts do not have that much flavor anyway, but the salt is going to help just bring out some of that flavor of the chicken and the flavors of the herbs and things that we added as well. Question?
And there's different types of salt, correct? And
yes.
Would they all be treated equally as far as seasoning is concerned?
Okay, so the 3 main types of salt that you may be aware of are kosher salt, which is what I just used, sea salt, which I also have in this house. So let me see if I don't know how good the camera is going to be. No, you can't really see so well. But kosher salt is like, oh, that was good. There we go. Let's go. Kosher salt is like, it's thicker than your like iodized salt. If you can see, oh, there, that's, I got it, Instagram. I just got to show you like this. It's kosher, it's kosher. It's thicker. You can feel it in your hands. I really like kosher salt when I'm cooking because you can actually like feel how much you're putting inside. The other kind of salt is sea salt, which is I have under my sink, which is It's a little bit thinner. There's different grades of sea salt, but it's a little bit thinner than your kosher salt, but you can still feel it in your hands. So I like kosher salt too. They're kind of interchangeable. Now the other salt that you may have grown up eating or grown up seeing is iodized salt, which comes in the
Morton's.
Morton's, yes, with the little umbrella girl.
Yeah.
I don't really recommend that. Oftentimes, because that salt is so condensed, it makes food salty. Also, when you're seasoning things, it's very, very fine granules, so you can't like feel it as well. And the more you get to cooking, the more you'll understand that concept of like feeling the ingredient. And iodized salt just makes it super salty, and you just can't feel it and control it. I'm gonna mix this. Ooh, I'm gonna take off my ring, and I'm gonna mix this chicken around with our marinade. Question?
Someone missed the what type of seasonings? Can you repeat that?
Oh, so in the instructions I gave you. Oh, also I want to point this out. My chicken has this weird like fat on it. I want to take that off because it's not actually that good to eat. And normally you don't even really need a knife. You can just kind of peel it off there. All right, so in the chicken seasoning, I told you guys to just use Italian seasoning, which is typically a blend of oregano, basil, thyme, and sometimes there's like garlic powder in there. And I also recommend, if you don't cook so often, to get those blends, like a Mrs. Dash or just a grocery store blend, because it's the easier way. Then you don't have to measure everything out all the time, and it's pre-made for you. There's a reason that it exists.
Again, what are you cooking?
Today we're making chicken and broccoli penne pasta. So I went over a few of the ingredients we had before. We have some water boiling for our pasta. Penne pasta is what I'm recommending, but you can use any kind of dried pasta. Except for, I wouldn't necessarily recommend like a spaghetti in this case or anything with long stringy noodles. Just because like we're gonna have big pieces of chicken and broccoli, and the penne kind of like complements that a little bit more than the like stringy fettuccine or spaghetti or bucatini. So we have our water boiling, we have our chicken sort of marinating here, and our Italian's herbs, a little bit of olive oil and lemon juice, and plenty of salt because it's our first layer of seasoning for our chicken. While this is just sitting here for a second, I'm going to go over the other ingredients that we're going to be using. So we're going to be using butter to start off our sauce. We're also going to be using, which, sorry I didn't include it on the list, but I really hope that everyone has garlic in their house. It's something that you should always have in your house because it just adds so much flavor to so many different things. And then instead of a typical cream sauce that you make with heavy cream, we're going to be using cream cheese as like the creaminess base of our sauce. I like the idea of using cream cheese in sauces, especially in times like this, because cream cheese lasts so much longer than heavy cream or milk or anything you're going to get in like the refrigerated section. Like for instance, I bought this 2 days ago, and this cream cheese says it's good until September 2020. So like excellent choice if you want something creamy. Also, you know, it doubles as a breakfast. So you can put on your toast, on your bagels, things like that. So yeah, we're making chicken and penne with a creamy Parmesan sauce. Speaking of which, I also have two kinds of Parmesan. We'll get into Parmesan cheese a little bit later. But I have this big giant bag I got from Costco, and then I actually have legit Parmesan cheese from Parma, Italy, which we'll talk about a little later. Question?
Can you use garlic powder or garlic salt in lieu of garlic?
Yes, I would recommend using garlic powder. I don't typically keep garlic salt in the house because I like to be able to control the amount of salt I'm putting into my dishes. So garlic salt, because you're going to add a salt for other things, it can end up making your dish a little too salty. So garlic powder, I love garlic powder. Whenever I'm feeling lazy, I don't want to grate garlic, I don't want to slice garlic. It's like the absolute best thing. It's also a great like background ingredient, even if you're using fresh garlic. The garlic powder adds like just another depth of flavor. So definitely recommend always having garlic powder on hand. All right, so we have our water. Oh, the final ingredient that I wanted to talk about.
Oh, and someone said yes, butter. Ooh.
Yes, ooh, butter, the best thing. These are hard times. We need some comfort foods. This is like the ultimate comfort dish. And it's even healthy, which I didn't want to say on Instagram because it's not really true, because we're adding broccoli into it. And we're going to be using frozen broccoli. because if you were lucky in the Hunger Games of the last couple weeks and were able to get frozen vegetables, they're a great way to keep in your fridge. Although fresh broccoli can keep for a pretty long time in your fridge too, and you can use fresh broccoli in this dish if you have it. It'll be around the similar. I'll tell you the difference of how we're going to use it when we get to that part. But if you are using frozen broccoli like I am, you want to keep your frozen broccoli. Anytime you're using frozen vegetables, you want to keep your vegetables in the freezer until you're ready to cook them. Because if you take them out before you're going to cook, they're going to start defrosting, and then it's going to kind of like mess up the cooking process, and it just could end up a little mushy, and you want to try to maintain that texture of your frozen vegetables. All right, so we are going to start cooking our chicken, but where did I put my pan? It just like disappeared.
Your pan is up there.
Oh, I never hang this pan here, and I hung it on the thing. All right, so I'm going to be using a skillet like this, and I'm going to turn it on high heat. Let's go ahead and turn it on. And again, if you're just joining us, welcome to Real Life Cooking, where I make a meal from start to finish within an hour. You can cook along. I put out grocery lists on my Instagram. I'm going to start putting out the grocery lists a little earlier, so you have a little bit more time to prepare. You can also sign up for my newsletter on my website, chefleen.com, and you'll always get a newsletter with all the...
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. Check out my website. I worked really hard on it. Question?
Can you freeze it if you make too much, or will the cream sauce separate?
I would not recommend freezing anything with cheese, especially nothing with cream cheese. I've never tried it, actually, but I've read a lot about how cream cheese will separate. The only thing that I think might be okay for freezing is mac and cheese, but I will try it and I will get back to you. Can you take note of who that was?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
My mother.
Oh, question?
What piece of chicken are you using? Is there a particular piece that you recommend?
So for this dish particularly, we are using chicken breasts. But I stated at the beginning you can use boneless, skinless chicken thighs for this dish. I wouldn't use anything with a bone in here, just for presentation purposes, and it just makes it a little bit more difficult to like shred the chicken off the bone. There's a time and place for chicken on the bone. I'm not against chicken on the bone, but for this dish, it's just easier, faster with chicken breasts. You can even use those thin chicken cutlets or even chicken tenders. Those are good substitutes. The chicken just won't take as long to cook. All right, so I want to get my skillet on high, and I'm gonna put not so much oil, but just enough to like barely coat the pan. I don't want to I'm not frying the chicken here. I just want enough so that the chicken doesn't stick, and I'm making it even safer for myself because my pan is actually a non-stick skillet. But if you do not have a non-stick skillet, it's totally okay, because actually using skillets that are not non-stick will actually get more fond on the bottom of the pan, which will actually end up giving you more flavor at the end. But it's just safer if you have a non-stick skillet. But either way works. Question?
Are there any substitutes for Parmesan? That's the only thing she happens to have.
Any substitutes for Parmesan?
Cheese.
Oh, a good substitute is Parmesan Reggiano, which is different than Parmesan, but it's basically the same thing. So Parmesan is like a really really aged cheese, and it's a lot more salty and savory and has a lot more umami flavor than most cheeses. So I would say like a Manchego. I definitely wouldn't substitute with like a mozzarella, but you could put like a cheddar. It would be completely different dish, completely different tasting, and completely different creaminess, but it could be used. I just wouldn't use like a soft cheese in this. Besides the cream cheese.
Autumn is shaming Amina for having limited supplies in the mansion.
All right, so I'm going to start searing my chicken. So I want to get a nice color on this chicken because color is flavor. Color makes you want to eat what you're eating before you even eat it. So I'm not wiping off the seasoning I just put on, but I'm just dabbing off a little bit of the excess moisture that's on that chicken with some paper towel. And then I'm going to put it presentation side down, which I'll show you with the next one before I put it in, let's put that down. And that's the sound you want to hear. It needs to be sizzling. So chicken breasts, if you didn't know, have two different sides. One side, I should just touch this so it's easier. One side is like shinier and flatter, like this. Sorry guys, I'm showing Facebook. I stream on Facebook and Instagram. And then the other side is a little more ridged, and you can see like the chicken tender would be here. Sometimes when your chicken breasts are a little bit thicker, they have the chicken tender attached. You always want to sear on this shiny, like silkier side first, because that is going to be your presentation side. All right, I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to check my water. Oh, my water is not boiling. Very, very important that your water is at a full boil before you put any of your pasta in, because if it's not, your pasta will start becoming waterlogged before it starts cooking, and then you'll have mushy pasta. While my chicken is searing back there, I'm going to get my garlic ready, which takes no time at all.
Oh, I thought you were
Oh, the shaking trick. So I changed lives on Tuesday, guys, with this shaking trick. I don't need as much garlic as I made, because on Tuesday I made a garlic pasta, which had like 10 cloves of garlic, so peeling 10 cloves of garlic can be quite a task. So I'll show you guys, since we have a little bit of time, if I can find a Tupperware that works. I don't have a lid. No lid. Oh wait, maybe here.
Can you reach it?
Don't judge my organization of that. Haven't got there. So the quarantine organization hasn't got there yet. So if you have to peel a lot of garlic, you want to put all your garlic in some sort of like Tupperware or glass like mason jar, and then you're gonna close it. I hope this works in this container, because this is not the container I used last time. And then you're gonna shake it. It's like a magic trick. Question?
Onion on the pre-peeled or pre-minced garlic?
What?
Onion on the pre-peeled or pre-minced garlic?
Onion on the pre-peeled or pre-minced garlic? I don't think I understand that question. Whoever just asked about pre-peeled or onion, can you please clarify? All right, so I put 4 pieces of unpeeled garlic in here. I'm shaking it with all my strength, all my aggression, taking it out. And then, after no time at all, ta-da! Peeled garlic. Like, look at that. All 4 pieces actually peeled. Amazing, right? Oh, you have a... All 4 pieces are peeled. But for this...
Oh, opinion. Sorry, I got it now.
For this recipe...
opinion.
I mean, since I peeled...
Oh, shucks. I missed all of that.
What is happening? Our technological guru is failing me right now.
I thought it said onion and it said opinion.
All right, guys. My chicken has really, really nice color. So I'm going to flip it over now. This one, oh my God. This is like the most amazing, beautiful chicken I've ever made. It's like seasoned to perfection. It has a nice golden color. And now, I told you guys it's going to be the sear and steaming method. So, now I'm going to put in about 1/4 to 1/2 cup water. I'm going to lower the heat. And I'm going to put the lid on my chicken.
Oh, here we go. I got
and
the
it's going
question
to
right
finish cooking that way. Question?
Opinion on pre-peeled and pre-minced garlic.
This is like the most...
Can you use the garlic education that you have?
Frequently asked question about garlic and pre-peeled and minced and all that. So, garlic has a property called allicin. Ooh. And allicin is not your friend, because you know, if you don't like that really sulfury, super strong, sharp taste of garlic, allicin is the component in the garlic that makes that happen. So as soon as you start, if you take your garlic clove, your peeled garlic clove, and start slicing it or cutting it, that is when allicin is released. And the longer allicin sits there, the stronger she gets. And that is going to create unpleasant flavors. So I highly, highly, highly strongly advise against that chopped garlic you get in a can that can sit on your shelf forever. Because the truth is that garlic, like this kind of garlic, can sit on your shelf for a long time too, probably at least a month. If you are lazy and must skip the step of peeling, even though, didn't you guys just see how much fun I had shaking off the skin? I will say you can. I will allow you to buy peeled garlic like this from like Trader Joe's, or, I mean, they sell it everywhere. It's like in the refrigerated section in your pantry section. But that is the only way That is acceptable to me. I mean, if you're used to the Allison, then go ahead.
And was that a half a cup of water?
Yeah, half a cup of water. So you want enough water to like come up almost halfway to your chicken. You don't want it to coat your chicken. We're not boiling our chicken, and you don't want it to like completely go away either, evaporate. So you want enough in there, and we want to put the lid on, and we want it to lower the heat, because if you have your heat on super high while you're trying to cook your chicken this way, what's going to happen inside your chicken is all the proteins inside your chicken are going to tighten and get angry, and you're going to have tough chicken. So the slower that you can cook your chicken in this method, the more tender and the more tender and juicy and moist it will be. So trust me, it might take a little bit longer with the heat on low, but your mouth will thank you for it at the end.
Someone said that they buy already peeled garlic just because ain't nobody got time for that.
Well, yeah, that's like I said, that is the acceptable way if you want to skip the step of peeling your garlic. But I just showed you, you can just put it in a little Tupperware. Think of whoever makes you angry at work, whoever like asked that final question on that conference call right now. Like, no one has time for that, okay? If you have time to listen to those conference calls, you have time to peel some garlic. All right, so if you're just joining us, welcome. We're making chicken and penne pasta with a cream sauce. Right now we have our pasta water almost at a boil. We have 4 quarts of water to about a half a box of pasta. Last time I made pasta, I made half a box of spaghetti, and it was like just enough for Chris and I.
For Chris.
We were like, oh, you gonna eat the rest of that? So half a box is probably the recommended amount if you're trying to be a healthy person. Right now all we have to look forward to is eating, so you might want to make the full box. But per pound of pasta, which typically a box of pasta is a pound, you want at least 4 quarts of water. And this is important because the pasta is going to absorb the water, and you want to make sure that it has enough water to absorb and maintain the correct consistency and texture that you want. So once our water is at a boil, I'm going to add in quite a bit of salt. You want your water to be salty like the ocean. Like, do you guys see? I just poured in at least 2 tablespoons. I might even go a little extra. Because pasta is boring. Pasta is plain. We want to season it. If you remember when I was talking about the chicken at the beginning, it has no flavor to it. So we're building that flavor by putting flavor into our pasta. Pasta is literally made out of flour and eggs. That's it. And a little bit of salt. But it has no flavor otherwise. So by starting with salty water, and if you are not used to cooking pasta, taste your water carefully because it's super hot. To make sure that it's salty. If it's salty enough to make you make a weird face, then it's perfect. So now I'm going to put in my pasta. I'm using penne. My box says that it will take 12 minutes for this to cook. Now, cooking is an active thing. As much as we always want to look for the easiest recipes, things you don't have to really pay attention to, it's active. Like, you can't just leave the stove on and walk away. That's dangerous. So even though the box says 12 minutes, we're going to start checking it around 8 because, 1, we want really al dente pasta because we're going to toss it in a sauce, which will continue to cook the pasta. 2, your stove might be like this amazing stove. I mean, maybe Amina in your mansion, your stove might be a little bit better than this little dinky stove I have here in New York City. So your stove might have much more force or much more butane behind it.
Butane.
Butane is the gas.
Next question.
And as opposed to mine. So 8 minutes, you want to check your pasta. Always check it about like 4 minutes before it says it's ready. And I'm going to pour this in now. And then I'm not going to put any oil in because all oil does is make pasta like oily. It doesn't really do anything in terms of helping it not stick together. But what I am going to do is I'm going to stir it immediately when I put it into my pasta water. If you are cooking along and have any questions stuck anywhere, let me know.
What are you cooking?
We are cooking chicken and broccoli penne with a cream sauce, which we have not started yet. All right, so I'm just stirring my pasta, taking note of the time, 7:32. And now, oh, I want to get my cream cheese ready. So you can use up to this whole thing. I think I'm going to use like 3/4 of it. Chris is looking at me like, no, use the whole thing. And what I want to do with this is I just want to kind of put it into chunks. Chunks. I need a new word for chunks because chunks doesn't sound very like appetizing when you're cooking. Pieces. I just want to take this big block and I'm just going to use a butter knife. I'm just going to cut it into some smaller pieces because I want my cream cheese to melt, and if it's in smaller pieces, it'll melt faster without the chance of separating. So just like this. My dad used to make this amazing mac and cheese that had cream cheese in it. It sounds really strange, but it was so good.
That definitely sounds strange.
All right. And if you have any culinary questions, please feel free to drop them in the box below. Also, you guys, I need you guys to hit up my hotline bling. If you have any culinary questions throughout the week, any breakfast questions, lunch questions, what can I make with salsa, peanut butter, and orange juice, hit me up. The number is 323-305-CHEF.
Someone said pieces sounds fire.
Pieces? Pieces. Oh, pieces.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Pieces.
We can't really see that as much on that gray.
You can't see what? The cheese?
The cheese.
Oh, well, if you can't see it, you can see it kind of a little bit better on Facebook. But I've cut it into smaller pieces, essentially. That's what I've done. It's like, it's like too bright right here for some reason. Sorry, guys. There you go. There you go. All right, so it's just in smaller pieces. This is, I just saw that question, Chris. This is how many ounces?
There you go.
Oh, this is 8 ounces of cream cheese, too.
Okay.
And like I said, actually, I just cut it all up.
How many ounces of cream cheese? I have an 8-ounce container.
Yes, that's the question I was answering.
Oh, sorry.
This is 8 ounces too. I said I was going to use 3/4 of it. I might just throw it all in there because I don't have any bagels and the cream cheese will just be sitting in the back of my fridge. If you have other use for your cream cheese, just use like 3/4 of it. It's not really, it won't make a difference, honestly, in the flavor at the end. All right, I'm going to check on my chicken. It's been boiling back here. And I'm going to use a thermometer to check it. Was there a question? Oh, yes. This is done.
How do I get your recipes? Chefleen.com?
So, interesting story about my recipes. I believe that everyone should be cooking from their heart. So my chicken is done. I just want to show you there. Let's bring it on over. I use a cooking thermometer. If you don't have one, if you do have one, you're looking for a temperature of 165. If you don't have one, you want to touch on your chicken, and it should feel kind of like right here on your arm, like this part of your arm. It should feel like that. If it is too squishy, then it's not cooked, and if it's really hard, then that means it's probably super overcooked, and you overcooked your proteins got really tight. Question?
Someone said you motivate me. I love to cook. Also, the person that asked about recipes, you didn't finish.
Oh yeah, sorry. So I truly believe that you should cook from your heart and that recipes are just guidelines. So I do not have at the moment strict recipes on my site, but what you can do is get the grocery list and then watch old real life cooking videos, and you can pause when you need to, and it will walk you step by step through every recipe that I've created. I really, really believe that recipes are just a guideline. You should cook with how you feel. If you like garlic, add 10 cloves of garlic to this recipe. It's not gonna hurt me, and it might make you feel better. So really just guidelines. All right, so what we have created back here in our chicken juice, we've created this amazing chicken juice that you guys can't see. I'm gonna pour it into another container in case I want to use that later. It's super fragrant. It smells like all the herbs we used, and it has a nice color to it because we got that color from our chicken. And there was a little piece of chicken fat left that I'm gonna just take out. And now we're gonna start building our sauce. So I'm going to take about 2 tablespoons of butter. Question?
Again, what is she making?
Oh, I'm making chicken penne pasta. Chicken penne pasta with broccoli. And I'm going to start melting on low heat this butter back here. And also, I want to stir my pasta again. Yes, I'm making chicken penne pasta with broccoli. Right now, we've already cooked our chicken using the sear and steam method. We've gotten our cream cheese ready for our sauce. We have our garlic ready. We're melting some butter back here. And I'm going to take out my broccoli from the freezer. Question?
The one that is cooking along says I don't have any chicken juice. Is that a bad thing?
Oh, I'm surprised that you don't have chicken juice if you put a lid on it, because the juices of the chicken will come out. But it's not horrible because we're creating a whole cream sauce, so it's not the worst thing that could happen at all. All right, so our pasta has been cooking since 7:32, which has been about 6 minutes, and they say it takes penne pasta about 12 minutes to cook, but it still looks a little fishy back here. I'm using frozen broccoli, and I'm gonna save my dishes because I'm gonna cook my frozen broccoli. Well, not really cook, but defrost my frozen broccoli inside the pasta water when I feel like the pasta is almost done. Also, I want to watch my butter that is toasting. So my butter is almost melted, and I'm gonna add in my garlic now. My 4 cloves of garlic, because that's how many I peeled. But 2 would be a good amount here. You don't need 4 necessarily. And it's on super low heat, and I'm just kind of like toasting the garlic. I don't want the garlic to burn, so I'm just kind of toasting it. Question?
Did you add butter to the pan?
Yes, I added butter to the pan. 2 tablespoons of butter.
Also, Julia says she's late, but she's still gonna watch.
Oh, awesome. Hello, Julia. All right, so I have my frozen best yet broccoli. Frozen vegetables and fruits get bad rap sometimes, but they're actually picked at the peak of their ripeness and frozen pretty quickly, so they're actually sometimes can be fresher than regular vegetables, fresh vegetables. However, my qualms that I have with frozen vegetables are that they have a weird texture sometimes. So I do like to use them in dishes like this where I'm not like looking for that texture so much, because it's going to be all covered in cream and deliciousness. So it doesn't really matter so much. And if the broccoli kind of breaks up within the pasta, it's going to kind of add flavor in all those nooks and crannies of our penne. And not only is it going to add flavor, it's going to add like color and beautifulness too. So, perfect place for frozen broccoli. And someone at home has 87,000 bags of frozen broccoli looking at our freezer sections in Harlem. Like, there's literally no frozen vegetables left in Harlem. Another thing is that your frozen vegetables do not last forever. Just because they're frozen doesn't mean they're good forever. So when you take them out, if you're unsure if they have been in the freezer for too long, you want to like smell them. And if it smells like the freezer, you probably don't want to eat it. And if you don't know what that means, I realize it just has like a off taste, and it will have an off taste in it if it smells off too. This smells fine. We're all good. We just bought this 2 weeks ago. And also very important, when you bring your frozen vegetables home, just like ice cream, you want to put them in the freezer immediately, because if they start to defrost and then refrost, like, it's just a bad situation. So immediately put your frozen vegetables in the freezer. All right, I am going to check my pasta. It has been nearly 10 minutes, but my fire is bootleg.
It's been 9 minutes.
It's been nearly 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my pasta is still pretty hard, so I'm not going to add in my frozen broccoli yet, because I don't want to put the as soon as I put the frozen broccoli in, the water temperature is going to drop, which can affect the weight of our pasta cooking. And this is, if you were to ask a true pasta expert if you should do this, they would say absolutely not. But my rebuttal to them is, are you washing my dishes? So we're going to cook them together in this sort of like off-put method. Question?
Julia says she's been eating her broccoli and frozen food for years.
She's been eating frozen food?
Yeah, but I'm saying like she's been leaving it in her freezer for a long time.
Oh yeah, no. Like,
good thing she showed up and started to watch.
Good thing you're here, Julia. Welcome. Support group for frozen vegetables. You don't want to keep them for more than, honestly, like 6 months. Most things in your freezer don't last longer than 6 months. So all those people who brought all the broccoli and carrots and everything else, I hope you're eating it, and I hope you're not letting this food go to waste, because it's just not a good time to let food go to waste. I feel really bad. We ate the grits from last Sunday till yesterday, because we're not letting food go to waste in this house. All right, so my garlic is toasting up beautifully. It's not really getting color. Again, here I come with this futile attempt to show you guys over here. It's not really getting color, but it's kind of just like toasting and getting fragrant. And yeah, it just smells really nice as well. So now I'm gonna add in my cream cheese that I've cut up. This is 8 ounces. If you have the tub, like Kanisha did at home cooking along, and you want a little bit for like your bagel tomorrow, you don't have to use all of it, but you can. So anywhere between half, so 4 ounces and 8 ounces of cream cheese. I would recommend also using, if you've seen, there's a cream cheese that has less fat. When you're heating up cheese, it's not really the place for cheese with less fat. I'm sorry to break the news to you. Especially like we're eating pasta, you might as well go all the way in, right? So we're just gonna like let this kind of start melting down. Again, on low heat, because we don't want our cheese to separate. And when cheese is on super high heat, sometimes like the fat will like separate from the water, and it's just not a good situation. It's just better to go slow and low here. Question?
Is there a substitute for cream cheese if you don't like it?
You could use goat cheese, I would say, in this recipe.
Will you taste the cream cheese
What do you not like about the cream cheese consistency?
Will you taste the cream cheese taste?
You will taste the cream. It's the basis of the sauce, but it won't taste like, because we're gonna also add in Parmesan cheese, so it won't taste like just straight cream cheese. And hot cream cheese tastes different than cold cream cheese. Like if you don't like cream cheese but you like spinach and artichoke dip, or
she doesn't like the taste of it.
Oh, well, goat cheese would be the best substitute, I think, in this situation. All right, so I'm starting to let this melt down. And it's gonna seem like it's nothing at first, but just wait, just be patient, and you will see the magic happening. Also, good time to point out, we're gonna be saving some of this pasta water. So before you strain out your pasta water, you wanna make sure to take some out, at least a cup. And a good way to remind yourself to do this is to leave your, whatever you're gonna take the water out, like somewhere directly where you're working, or even like in your colander. So when you're making pasta water is great for making your sauces a little thicker. And so the best way to not forget to take out your pasta is to put your, whatever you're taking your water out, into your colander and just like leave it in your sink. So even if you get your pot and you're like, oh, ready to strain my pasta, and you totally forget, like you'll look down and you'll be like, oh, I was supposed to save some water. So you'll have this right here. I'm actually gonna take mine out right now. So about a half a cup of this. I'm also going to check my pasta again to see if it's at the consistency that I would like it. Super hot. So now it's been cooking 13 minutes, which is 1 minute over what the box has told us. But I can tell you by even just feeling this, it's not done. But it's almost done. I don't know, again, futile attempt. But actually, I'll take a picture and show you guys this later. You can tell, like when you bite into your pasta, you can see the part that's uncooked in here. But this is like nearly cooked, so I'm gonna add in my broccoli. Again, your cheese sauce is on low heat back here. Adding in my broccoli to my pasta water. Don't tell any Italian people that are like pasta heads, because this is simply unacceptable to be doing these sorts of things.
Is pasta head a real word?
Pasta head? There's some like legit crazy pasta people out there that like, you guys have watched Chopped with Scott Conan. What is he? He always gets really mad when people rinse off their pasta after they're done cooking it. I don't know. There's all kinds of rules. I'm not really a rule follower in the kitchen. Like, there's certain things that you should do, but sometimes real life happens and you just need to make it work. And you just don't want to do more dishes. So, I added about half of my bag of frozen broccoli. I have my cream cheese melting back here with my garlic and butter. I mean, how much more delicious does that sound? And I'm going to add in this pasta water, about a cup of pasta water, into my cream cheese mixture. And I'm gonna just stir this and start letting it get, and as soon as you add in that water, it looks like it's, if you're making this and you're scared, it looks a little like a chunky mess right now, but you just have to keep stirring it and coaxing it and, you know, talking to your food, being like, sauce, I can't believe how delicious you're gonna taste when I'm done with you. I can't wait for you to get in my belly. And it'll turn into a magical sauce. Do not be afraid. It takes a little while for the cream cheese to melt. All right. Once your sauce is starting to get smooth, you want to taste your sauce at this point. I'm gonna taste it. It's gonna taste like garlic and cream cheese.
Because that's what you put in there.
That's what's in there. So now, this is when we want to start seasoning it. If you need, what you're definitely gonna need, salt, of course, and then pepper. And then if you want to add in, if you like spicy, you can add in some hot chili flakes here. You could also add, if you wanted more garlic flavor, more garlic here. If you wanted to add some more of that Italian seasoning, you could add that here. You could add any individual seasonings you like. Literally, now we have created the canvas for you to run and play and make the dish exactly yours, however you want. But you are gonna have to do quite a bit of stirring to make sure the big pieces of cream cheese are smooth. So, and if you notice, I'm using a wooden spoon in my non-stick skillet because it's important not to mess up the integrity of your skillet. My sauce is looking amazing. I actually might take out some more of this pasta water because my sauce, let me bring it over. Oh yeah, look at this. Look at this. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous sauce. Amazing. Again, you don't want to make your sauce too hot because it will separate the cream cheese. So just low and slow, be patient. Don't get upset if there's some chunks inside because all you need to do is just soothe your sauce, talk to it, and stir it. More importantly, stir it. All right. I'm also going to taste my sauce again before I start putting, I ran out of spoons. All right. Taste my sauce. Make sure it has a good level of salt and pepper. Delicious. It's gonna pair amazing with our broccoli. I'm gonna bring, so my sauce is on low. I'm gonna add in the Parmesan cheese once I add in my pasta. My pasta is almost done. And I'm just gonna slice up my chicken because what I'm gonna do for this dish is I'm going to toss my chicken with my pasta and broccoli. It's gonna be kind of a messier dish, a little more rustic, but it's super comforting, all the cheese. So I'm just literally gonna take my knife. You can cut it however you want. You can slice it. You can make chunks. Slices. So I'm just gonna slice my chicken as thin or as thick as you want. And I wish you guys could see, like, literally this chicken is so juicy from our searing and steaming method. And at the beginning we were discussing how many chicken breasts you would need. Look how many slices of chicken I got out of this one chicken breast here. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 slices. So technically you could, like, that's like 3 servings right there. Good thing TT's not here because that would be all for TT. That would be 1 TT serving there. Also, whatever plate you put your chicken on, it's gonna have some juices. And if you had those leftover juices from your chicken earlier when we cooked it, you can add these into your sauce as well too. I'm not gonna add in my earlier juices because they're a little dark, but I am gonna add in this juice from the plate. It's not so much, but it'll add some good flavor to our sauce. All right. I think our pasta should be done. So I'm gonna drain that. Again, if you guys have any culinary questions, let me know, drop them in the box. Chris has been doing an excellent job at his new job during quarantine as my technological guru. I'm gonna strain my pasta into my colander in the sink, but remember we saved some of that pasta water in case we wanna, I'm actually gonna take even a little bit more out now, in case we wanna thin out our sauce a little later. Turn this off, grab my oven mitts, and drain this out. And then you don't even have to get all of the water drained out of your pasta. You can literally just take it and dump all your pasta and broccoli just directly into your sauce. And if a little bit of that water gets in there, excellent. So, oh my gosh, this looks so good. Secret, my favorite restaurant as a kid used to be Olive Garden. This looks a little bit better than Olive Garden.
That's a little bit better.
I'm just gonna throw in our sliced chicken. I'm only gonna use one chicken breast because I really feel like two might be overkill right now. Move this out of the way so you guys can see. All right, so literally our pasta is done at this point. Let me show you guys. All you want to do is toss around your pasta and broccoli in that cream sauce that you seasoned with salt and pepper and garlic and any of those little chicken drippings that we had. And then the piece de resistance is going to be our Parmesan cheese. So there's a lot of ways you can go with Parmesan cheese. I've talked about this often. I'm a Parmesan cheese purist. Real Parmesan cheese comes from only one place in the entire world, which is Italy. There's only 3 ingredients in it. That is milk, rennet, and salt. And real Parmesan cheese, within 20 hours of the cow, like the cow being milked, they start turning it into cheese. So it's like super fresh. And real Parmesan cheese actually is aged. It comes in like these really big wheels. It's aged for 12 months up to 3 years, I think. And you know it's real Parmesan cheese because on the rind, so there's 2 layers of it and like this part is the cheese that you eat, and then there's a rind right here, and it will say Parma. It's actually stamped with Parma on it because it's like literally inspected and stamped. And these little solid things just means it's like aged really well. And the longer the cheese ages, it's like wine. The longer it ages, the more nuttier and savorier, the more nutty and savory the cheese becomes. Whereas fresh Parmesan cheese that's only aged 12 months is going to taste a little bit more sweet and fruity. Now, do not fret if you don't have real Parmesan cheese. Obviously, I said I was a Parmesan cheese purist, and I have a big bag of the shredded stuff from shredded stuff from Fairfield, New Jersey, and it's a product of USA, Germany, Italy, and Uruguay. So I don't even know, like, the cows just had to convene and they all came from all these different places. So the difference between this, the real Parmesan cheese, and something like this is it has other like random ingredients, and you also don't know where the cows are coming from. Like literally, the cows in Italy are so happy. You know exactly where the cows are coming from. This has like for instance, this has egg white lysome. It's just stuff to like make it last longer. But they've done a really good job at imitating the taste of Parmesan cheese. So if this is all you can find, no worries. At this point, you're going to add in as much as you want. I would start with about 1/4 of a cup. And you know you can always...
getting the real stuff.
Oh, Chris is mad we're not using the real stuff. I'll grate the real stuff on top. So about 1/4 of a cup. And then taste it if you want more. Of course, add more. Question? Was there a question? Chris?
There's love for Olive Garden on here. Someone saw you on Chopped a couple days ago. They told you keep pushing. And where do you recommend buying authentic Italian cheeses?
So that's a great question, and it's tricky because American companies, although recently they've cracked down a little bit, but American companies are really good at pretending like they've made Parmesan cheese because they'll even label it as Parmesan cheese. But the way to tell is like looking at the rind, making sure it says Parma on there. And the best places in New York to find it are Citarella, Whole Foods. I'm not like a Trader Joe's huge fan, so I don't go there that often. So I don't know if they have real Parmesan cheese. I know our local grocery store doesn't, because anytime I need real Parmesan cheese, I have to go to Whole Foods. All right, so I'm gonna just.
So Whole Foods.
Yeah, Whole Foods. I'm gonna plate some of this delicious magic up. Look at all that creaminess. It's like sticking together. Again, if you feel like you want your sauce to be a little looser, you can add in, not on your plate, but add into your dish a little bit more of that Parmesan or pasta water. I'm gonna put some freshly cracked black pepper on top. And I'm gonna finish it off with the good stuff because Chris is spoiled and he was angry that I was using the imitation Parmesan cheese on top. All right, so this is a perfect dish for your quarantine woes. It's comforting, it has vegetables, it's cheesy and amazing and delicious. Kanisha, did you finish? Would you like to show us your product? If you have, look at, TT says that Trader Joe's does have real Parmesan cheese.
Yeah, I saw that.
But look at our amazing, beautiful chicken and broccoli parm. Thank you guys for watching. I will be back next week on Real Life Cooking. And I'm also going to start virtual cooking classes, so tell your friends. And there'll be some more info about that coming up soon. And don't forget to make my hotline bling, 323-305-CHEF.
TT said your hair is flourishing, come through inches.
Oh, I thank you.
And also, the guy said he saw you on Chopped. You gotta give him better.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad that you saw me on Chopped. I hope you were cheering for me. That was the most stressful day of my life. If you want to read more about my experience, I have a blog on my website where I've written about it as well. Shameless fuck. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for sharing. Tell people about me. Keep cooking. Keep your heads up during this crazy time. And I will see you later.